I was accused of stealing items from Diana, Princess of Wales, things that she had given to me.
Yes.
And I'd explained to the Queen at Buckingham Palace shortly after the Princess's death that I would not stand by and let everyone else change history.
But Meghan Markle is so delusional. She is so self-impressed that she just does it naturally.
The jewel Meghan can never own was never hidden in a palace vault, never buried in some forgotten Windsor inventory, and never locked away behind royal glass. It has been sitting in plain sight, glowing on another woman's hand.
Well, you have to remember, of course, that Meghan's truth is Meghan's truth, and it's not altogether the truth. I can tell you, I know the Queen bent over backwards trying to accommodate Meghan when she first entered the royal family.
Photographed again and again, while Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell, the man who packed her jewelry boxes for 10 years, suddenly reopened the most dangerous question of all. Who truly gets to possess Diana's legacy? Because Burrell was not just standing near Diana's jewels. He decided what was wrapped, what was protected, what was left behind, and what became part of history. So when he speaks about what belongs to whom, the palace may pretend not to listen, but everyone else should. Diana wrote it down. Not whispered, not implied.
Also, can you comment on how Meghan can be so deluded as to believe she might receive an invitation to the Met Gala? Well, I mean, the Met Gala needs Meghan.
Written, her daughters-in-law may, in due course, have it or use it. And inside those 6 words sits the entire Meghan Markle jewel controversy. Because according to this story, Meghan received access to some pieces. But there is one Diana jewel she will never wear, and the reason leads directly back to Prince Harry's own book. But before that sentence becomes explosive, the trail begins on the 7th of August, in Victoria, British Columbia, at the David Foster Foundation's 40th anniversary gala, right on the Inner Harbor, where one red carpet appearance turned into something much darker than fashion. Meghan arrived in a black one-shouldered gown by Canadian designer Greta Constantine, a clever local choice for a Canadian crowd gathered for David Foster, not for her. And that is where the first clue appeared. Why travel 5,000 miles to stand in a room where you were never meant to be the central figure? She posed with Foster himself and with Catherine McPhee, but within about 48 hours, the conversation had shifted completely. Not the dress, not the foundation, not 40 years of charity work. The scandal became whether David Foster had cut the Duchess of Sussex dead on camera. That denial changed everything. A music legend had to publicly explain that no, he had not snubbed Meghan Markle. Think about that humiliation. When was the last time anyone had to publicly deny snubbing Catherine? But while everyone argued about the red carpet body language, the real clue was not David Foster's glance. It was not Catherine McPhee. It was not even Meghan's expression. It was the earrings. One headline claimed the tribute had sickened royal fans because Meghan was wearing jewels linked to Diana, and suddenly the whole room became a courtroom for royal symbolism. Those earrings were not ordinary Diana jewels. Diana did not buy them, and they were not a casual Windsor gift. They arrived in 1981 as a wedding present from Crown Prince Fahd of Saudi Arabia, as part of a full suite made by Asprey, necklace, ring, bracelet, wristwatch, and earrings, all reportedly presented in a green malachite box stamped with the Saudi coat of arms. That detail matters, because this was not shopping. It was diplomacy in a box. A gift from one royal system to a serving member of another royal family. So the question becomes brutal. Did the jewels belong to Diana the woman? Or Diana the job? The necklace was the centerpiece, an enormous Burmese sapphire surrounded by a jagged sunray fringe of baguette diamonds. Diana wore it, then transformed parts of it into a velvet choker, and even wore that choker as a headband, because Diana knew how to turn ownership into performance. But that history makes Meghan's choice more dangerous, not less. Of every piece Diana personally owned, of everything Diana chose, paid for, and touched with her own life, Meghan reached for a diplomatic suite, the one tied to monarchy, ceremony, and state-level meaning. Maybe she knew, maybe she did not. But either way, the optics did the talking. And that brings the whole scandal back to Diana's written instruction. Have it or use it. Those two verbs are not twins. Diana chose both because she understood the difference between possession and permission. Have means ownership. Use means access. One is inheritance, the other is a loan. And Diana, more than almost anyone in that family, knew what it meant to be told something was yours, until the institution decided it was not. The tiaras were lent. The houses were lent. Even the title felt lent. In the end, they took that back too. So when Diana wrote about her own jewelry, the one pile of things that actually belonged to her, she did not create a simple handover. She created a split. Maybe one daughter-in-law would truly have certain things. Maybe another would only use them. The tragedy is that Diana never lived to meet either Catherine or Meghan, yet her wording now feels like a prophecy. The estate numbers make it even sharper. 21 million gross, 17 million after tax, 3/4 to William and Harry, and the remaining quarter divided among 17 godchildren. Even in death, Diana's possessions became a battlefield of percentages, people, and power. Then came the legal twist. The executors of Diana's estate, her mother Frances Shan Kidd and her sister Lady Sarah McCorquodale, went to probate court and applied for a variance, a legal change to how Diana's letter would be carried out. That changed the timing. William and Harry could not touch any of it until they turned 30. Diana died in 1997. Harry turned 30 in 2014. Do the arithmetic, and it means Diana's jewelry sat behind paperwork for 17 years, while adults argued over access. What exactly were they protecting? And from whom? That is where Paul Burrell returns, not as gossip, but as the man inside the house. Paul Burrell had spent 10 years beside Diana. She called him her rock while she was still alive, long before documentaries, memoirs, and endless royal debates transformed him into a controversial figure. Whatever opinions people hold about him today, one fact never changed. He knew where Diana's belongings went after every engagement, every tour, every royal dinner, and every private moment. That is exactly why his later courtroom battle became far more important than a dispute over valuables. In October 2002, Burrell stood inside the Old Bailey accused of stealing 310 items from Diana's estate, items reportedly valued at $4.5 million. Think about that number. Someone had individually cataloged every possession, turning memories into evidence and sentiment into criminal exhibits. Burrell answered with one simple defense. He claimed he had no legal right to those belongings, but believed he had a moral duty to protect them. Suddenly, Diana's own words echoed again. Have it, or use it. Legal ownership on one side, moral responsibility on the other. The same division appeared yet again. Then another astonishing detail surfaced. Burrell claimed Diana's own mother, Frances Shan Kidd, had been destroying personal papers after Diana's death, and that the shredder became so overheated it was literally smoking from continuous use. Whether people believe every word or not, it remains an extraordinarily specific claim. Why would a grieving mother destroy such a large volume of documents so quickly? What was considered too private, too sensitive, or too dangerous to survive? The criminal case itself eventually collapsed after the late Queen intervened, confirming Burrell had informed her immediately after Diana's death that he was safeguarding possessions on Diana's behalf. It marked the first known occasion a British monarch intervened in a criminal prosecution involving a royal butler. That intervention transformed the case. The question was no longer whether jewelry existed. The question became why the Crown considered those belongings important enough to justify extraordinary constitutional involvement. Now, the very man once prosecuted over Diana's possessions was publicly explaining why Meghan could never possess certain pieces. The irony almost wrote itself. But according to Tom Bower's account, the palace had already settled one version of this argument years before Meghan even understood what she was walking into. The year was 2018. The wedding preparations had begun. Meghan reportedly wanted the Greville Emerald Kokoshnik tiara, one of the most dramatic emerald pieces inside the royal collection. She did not receive it. Instead, she wore Queen Mary's diamond bandeau, loaned for the ceremony and reportedly valued at approximately $2.6 million. Only 6 months later, Princess Eugenie married at Windsor wearing the emerald tiara Meghan had reportedly hoped for. That alone triggered endless speculation. But Harry's own memoir, Spare, Complicated, matters further. Harry described requesting the tiara through the late Queen's dresser and curator Angela Kelly, so Meghan could practice with her hairdresser. According to his version, nothing arrived. Nobody responded. Harry even referred to Angela Kelly as a troublemaker. Yet the reported message that came back from Queen Elizabeth II became the defining sentence of the entire controversy. Meghan cannot have whatever she wants. She gets the tiara she is given by me. That single word given connected decades of separate stories into one unmistakable pattern. Diana distinguished between have and use. Burrell distinguished legal ownership from moral custody. Queen Elizabeth distinguished being given access from possessing ownership. Three different people, across 3 different decades, using nearly identical principles without coordinating with each other. At what point does repetition become institutional policy instead of coincidence? The tiara was never Meghan's. It was lent for the day. 2 ordinary words carried enormous constitutional weight, yet very few people noticed them during the wedding itself. If critics believed that controversy belonged safely in the past, another remarkably similar dispute emerged this month in an entirely different country. Martha Stewart, now 85 years old, appeared on a magazine cover, recalling a California dinner where she claimed Meghan had mentioned recently returning from the palace. Only 4 days later, the individual who hosted that dinner reportedly contradicted the account, saying the palace conversation simply never happened. Someone's memory was wrong. Meghan's representatives responded by saying she had merely answered a question about a European holiday and described it as pleasant. They then suggested Martha Stewart must have been confused before adding they remained admirers of her work. Critics immediately questioned the strategy. Meghan Kelly argued Martha Stewart was not known for inventing stories and described the response as unnecessarily self-defeating. Once again, the dispute was not merely about facts. It was about proximity. Just as Diana's earrings projected closeness to Diana's legacy in Canada, the California dinner projected closeness to the royal household itself. Whether intentional or not, both controversies revolved around the same invisible currency, appearing connected to an institution increasingly determined to define exactly where those boundaries begin and end. Paul Burrell's most revealing memory, however, had nothing to do with jewels at all. He recalled 1992, shortly before Charles and Diana formally separated. Charles reportedly told Diana she could take anything she wanted from the house, the clocks, the silverware, virtually every treasured possession. Yet Diana asked for only one thing. She wanted Paul Burrell himself to accompany her. Charles refused. Everything else was negotiable. The one request that truly mattered was denied, because Burrell belonged to the royal household and was required elsewhere. That story changed the entire perspective. Diana herself discovered that within the monarchy, almost everything appears available until someone asks for the one thing the institution refuses to surrender. And that realization leads directly to the final revelation, Prince Harry's own explanation of Diana's famous sapphire engagement ring, the version that challenges everything the public believed for more than 13 years.